Your first literature exam is literally tomorrow. So after this video, I'm going to give you my 4 top tips, and this will genuinely save you so much tomorrow. If you do these 4 things, I promise you, you'll be fine. So the first thing I want you to do is to use the word or phrase from the question at least 5 times. Now, the thing is, and how you'll be able to adapt pre-learned analysis is just making sure you're staying focused on the question. And what students do wrong is they'll pre-learn analysis and quotes and things, but they won't link it back to the word from the question. So it looks like they've just pre-learned things and it's not specifically linked. So what we want to make sure we're doing is, say for example, the question is, how is the supernatural presented as a deceptive force? So I'm looking at this question. I want to firstly highlight what is the word or phrase in the question. Now, don't just highlight a word, make sure it's the word or phrase if that is relevant. So I know the word or phrase is deceptive force. So I'm going to be thinking about the supernatural being a deceptive force. So everything I link back to in my paragraph is going to be deceptive force, supernatural deceptive force, because that is the word or phrase I need to be focused on. So a little top tip, when you go into that exam tomorrow, first thing you do is highlight the word or phrase. Now, you're allowed to actually highlight on the extract, so do that. Highlight the word or phrase. Then, for example, how is the supernatural presented as a deceptive force? I've highlighted in the exam. And then I'm going to try use the word deceptive force, linking it back to the supernatural, at least 5 to 6 times in your paragraph. And where I would typically see to put this is in your analysis. So anytime you're doing analysis, trying using the word deceptive force and supernatural and kind of weaving it into your pre-learned analysis. Anything about your writer's intentions, kind of being like, for example, with this question, Shakespeare presents the supernatural as a deceptive force too, da 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 da. So you're using the word and phrase in the question constantly, and also context. So if you were linking this back to, for example, the divine right of kings, you could be like, Shakespeare presents Macbeth to violate the divine right of kings because he is trying to show that the supernatural is a deceptive force that causes him to da 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 da. So every single time you do your analysis, writer's intentions and context is an easy opportunity to put the word or phrase from the question. And specifically with your analysis, you'll always do 2 bits of analysis per paragraph, or you should anyway. So then that's a really easy, that's already 4 times, and then just stick it in an extra 1 to 2 times. And it'll be in your point as well, so that's super easy. But they're the kind of places that you should be putting it on top of course, your point, because that's like the obvious one. And if you are panicking, thinking, oh my God, I don't know, I'm not prepared for tomorrow, you can still get the Light Hub and prepare literally just today, and you can cover everything you need. If you go into the last minute revision videos that we've got on every single course, and we've got them from Macbeth, A Christmas Carol, Jekyll and Hyde, we've even got it for the language papers. Even after this, you can still use the membership for language. This will go through in 41 minutes, basically everything you really need for the exam tomorrow. You can even make flashcards. You can actually type up flashcards here already on the website. And then what I would do is I just top up with any bits you're not sure about. So say for example, you've watched the last minute revision video and you go, okay, I'm still really not sure with Macbeth and violence. You can just go into the lessons and top it up. But we've got that for everything, guys. So even after this lit exam for lit paper 2, for poetry, for language, it's all on there. So if you get the Light Up today, you can still make massive improvements in literally 1 day. And my second top tip is using the Petetical structure, or Petatical. Now, Petetical, you'll know that I'm a real hater of Peel, and that being just because it doesn't allow you to go in depth enough. Now, even though your exam is tomorrow, if you always use Peel, there's no reason why you couldn't use this. It's very similar, but it just gives you more things to tick off. So what I'd actually recommend doing is on your extract, I'd actually write down Petetical, and then you can tick it off as you do it. So Petetical stands for point, evidence, technique, analysis, context, writer's intentions, and link. And this covers everything you need for a top paragraph. Even if you're not aiming for a grade 9, you should be using this structure. And like I said before, where you put like the word or phrase in the question, you see point, we put the word or phrase in the question. Analysis, we put it. We do it in the other analysis. We do it in context and writer's intentions. You can see there, I've got 5 places I can put the word or phrase in the question. So I'd actually recommend using this for the extract paragraph because there's 2 bits of evidence. So I'd actually recommend tomorrow for the exam, the question you get for the extract, I would recommend doing 2 bits of evidence from the extract to show the examiner you've understood the extract, and using this structure of Petetical. Now for the other 2 paragraphs, because I always recommend to do 3 paragraphs, so 1 Petetical and 2 Petaticals, and then a conclusion, I would then use Petatical for the other non-extract paragraphs. So the ones where you're going to be using your own quotes, your own analysis. And that basically is the exact same. We just got 1 bit of evidence and 2 techniques for each quote. And that's what we actually do on the Light Up Poll. We always give 2 techniques and analysis for each quote. So for example, the last minute revision video for Macbeth, if you go through that, you'll be able to watch it and you'll already have the techniques analysis pre-done with all the context and stuff already there for you. So they're the 2 structures I recommend you to use in the exam tomorrow. Make sure as well, my little top tip is in your context, make sure you link your context back. So when you put your context in on whatever it is, Divine Right of Kings, if it's about, I don't know, the 1834 Poor Law, if you're doing Christmas Carol, you want to make sure that you've linked it back. So basically, after you've done your context, just have a little sentence after it that links your context back to the quote that you're talking about. Cool. And then the third thing, now this is a super important one. It doesn't matter if you use Peel, Peta, whatever you're using, make sure you explain why for everything. And when I say this is one of the most important things you can do in your exam tomorrow, I mean it. You want to literally explain why. And when I say explain why, is think about giving me your reason for everything. So if this is an example of it done wrong. Scrooge despises giving to charity. So, okay, that's great. Thanks for letting me know that. But why? So in order to explain why, we want to then put our reasoning. Why does he despise giving to charity? So Scrooge despises giving to charity because, that's really important, he is a symbol of the parsimonious upper class members of society. So you can see there, I've given my reason. So don't just state anything. Assume the examiner is an idiot. I always say this. Assume the examiner is an idiot. They know nothing and you're explaining everything to them. Now that doesn't mean tell them the whole plot of the story. They don't want to know what happens in stave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They get it. They want to understand your reasoning behind it. If you're thinking, okay, Leah, I get that, but how do I actually do it? How you actually explain why to help you know you've done it, it's just use as or because after your reason, and it forces you to explain it. If you look at that, I couldn't stop my sentence saying Scrooge despises giving to charity because, and then not write anything else. It forces you to explain. So that is what I want you to do in your exam tomorrow. Make sure that you are explaining why. So after you've said something, said like, this shows, then give me your reason. This is in your analysis part. So in our petetical structure or a petetical structure, this is the A for analysis bit. This is what we're doing. We say it shows something, and then we give our reason why, saying as or because. And then number 4 is linking to wider ideas. Now, so many students tomorrow are not going to do this, but you're not going to make this mistake because this is such an easy way to get a top grade in literature tomorrow is by linking it to wider ideas. So many students just analyze the quote or they'll just talk about the quote at hand, but they won't link it to wider ideas. You're thinking, okay, what's a wider idea? So there's 3 main things we can link it to for a wider idea. Think about us almost zooming out and trying to connect what we're talking about to bigger ideas, things that cover the whole play or the whole text. So we've got theme, character change, and character comparison. So if we're going to try and include some, for theme, we want to try and link about overall themes. So for example, if you're a Light Up Pub member, or if you even watched the video, the last minute revision video on the Light Up Pub, or if you're going to watch it today, you'll know that we've got the key themes of Vagus: violence, ambition, guilt, gender, appearance versus reality, and supernatural. So if I was talking about my Macbeth exam tomorrow, I could talk about, for example, guilt becomes particularly significant when, or by presenting ambition, Shakespeare critiques, So I'm linking it to an overall theme. That's one way of linking it to wider ideas. The second way is character change. Now, this is such an easy one to do, guys. It's so simple, and you can literally just slip this into your analysis. That's where this would go in the paragraph. It'd go into my analysis bit. In whatever part or play of the book, the character is described as which starkly contrasts So, for example, tomorrow, if I had my Christmas Carol essay, I might talk about, in stave 1, Scrooge is described as insert description. He's really parsimonious, which starkly contrasts him in stave 5 when he becomes benevolent, he becomes charitable. So you can just see, it'd just be one sentence. I put it into my analysis. This would be my analysis bit. Think about what we've just done there. We've expanded on our analysis. We said this shows because or as, and then we could just put one of these in our sentence after the analysis, saying, oh, this links to the theme or this links to the character change. This goes in our analysis bit. And then the last one is character comparison. Again, a really easy one. That even if the character tomorrow, for example, is on Macbeth, you can still do a sentence comparing him to Lady Macbeth. Don't make the whole paragraph about Lady Macbeth. You can still do a sentence comparing. So, unlike to Macbeth, for example, Lady Macbeth is da-da-da-da. Or unlike to Lady Macbeth, Macbeth is da-da-da-da. And they are 3 really easy ways you're able to link and expand upon your analysis. So as a recap, remember what we're going to do tomorrow. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use the word from the question. We're going to highlight it and we're going to just use it constantly. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we are explaining why, and we're going to be putting that in our petetical structure for paragraph 1 and our petatical structure for paragraph 2 and 3. And in our analysis, we're going to obviously pre-learn the analysis from the Light Up Hub to adapt it. And we're going to put it into our own words, and we're going to make sure we're linking it back to the question. And we're going to put one of these in after our analysis. We're going to link it to theme, character change, or character comparison. And that is a full breakdown of what you're going to do for your exam tomorrow, guys. I promise you, you're going to be absolutely fine. Don't stress. But I just want to make sure you do these 4 key things, because if you do, tomorrow it's going to be a breeze. Best of luck, guys. You're going to absolutely smash it. And make sure you check out my channel for some more videos. I'm posting basically every day coming up to the exam to help you guys.